Good morning. My name is Lexi Sumner, and I'm a biologist with the Sea Lamprey Control Center at DFO. Today I'm going to share with you the current status of sea lamprey on Lake Erie, some work that was completed in 2023, and plans for the coming season. The Sea Lamprey Control Program is administered by the Great Lakes Fishery Commission and carried out by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and Fisheries and Oceans Canada. It's also supported by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and U.S. Geological Survey. So there are 34 streams or tributaries to Lake Erie that have historically harbored sea lamprey, 7 of which are regular producers of lamprey, and these are indicated by the blue circles. These regular producers require treatment every 3 to 5 years, and they include Big and Big Otter Creek in Ontario, Cattaraugus, Crooked, Raccoon, Conneaut, and Grand in the United States. The 2 main control methods that we use in the program include the application of lampricides to streams that harbor larval lamprey. By targeting lamprey in this the harmless larval phase of life, we prevent them from metamorphosing into the parasitic phase of life. Through the installation and maintenance of barriers, we block the spawning migration of adult spawning lamprey so that they have a more limited area of the river that they can inhabit, thereby reducing the amount of river that requires treatment. So all the treatments are informed by larval assessment, and since this is the part of the program that I'm in, I'm going to spend a little time discussing larval assessment. So treatments are prioritized. Rivers are prioritized for treatment if they have larger individuals of larvae, and that's because these larger individuals are going to be transforming into that parasitic phase of life more quickly than the small individuals. So we do larval assessments to find these large larvae and to determine the size, structure, and the density of the larvae in the streams. We also want to understand the extent of the larvae infestation so we can inform treatment crews where to apply chemical from so that the entire larval population is exposed to lampricide. In rivers that are shallow and wadeable, we collect larvae by backpack electrofishing. In streams that are too deep or too turbid to wade, we collect larvae through granular bailicide surveys, where we apply a type of lampricide to the surface of the water. These granules sink to the sediments where the active ingredient, the niclosamide, is released, irritating the larvae out of their burrows, swimming to the surface so we can scoop them up. As you can see by this illustration, the larvae at this phase of life, they're just little noodles. They don't have teeth, they don't have eyes. They're harmless at this phase. In addition to completing surveys to plan and prioritize treatments, we also do surveys for other objectives. We'll return to a stream that has had a treatment in the last 12 months to see how effective that treatment was. We'll do surveys above known barriers to make sure that they're effective at blocking lamprey on their spawning migration. We go back to streams that have historical records of sea lamprey. There are a number of streams across the basin that are not one of those regular producers, but we keep an eye on them in case lamprey do reestablish. And then we also visit streams that have never had a history of lamprey production, and every so often we do identify new producers of sea lamprey to the basin. So how do we measure the success of the Sea Lamprey Control Program? There are 2 metrics by which we measure the success. The first is the Adult Sea Lamprey Abundance Index. On Lake Erie, there are 5 tributaries that are trapped every year to try to collect adult spawning lamprey. The lamprey that are captured, a subset of them are marked, released, and recaptured, and these recapture rates help inform a lake-wide adult index. On this map, you'll see the 5 index streams on Lake Erie, and the circles illustrate the population estimate from 2023. The size of the circle represents the size of the population. For one of the streams, the Cattaraugus, too few marked lamprey were recaptured, so the population estimate was modeled. So together, these mark recapture estimates are used to produce a lake-wide adult index. Here, this plot illustrates the adult index over time, starting in the 1990s. The individual points are the year-specific index values. The blue line between the points is the 3-year moving average. There's quite a bit of variability between the index rates year to year, so by looking at the 3-year moving average, we have a better idea of the overall trends. The vertical bars are the 95% confidence intervals, and the horizontal red line is the target index value that we aim to keep sea lamprey below. The target is just about 3,300. And this target value reflects the adult abundance during a period of time where mortality of lake trout as a result of sea lamprey attack was at an acceptable rate. So in 2023, the adult index was 3,500, and this is just above the target value. That is a decrease from last year's index, but the overall trend has it increasing from some all-time lows. But overall, this is a good sign. We're happy with the current index rate. The second metric by which we establish the success of the program is through looking at marking the wounds on lake trout. We can't directly assess the juvenile population in the lake, but we can indirectly look at the wounding rates on lake trout. Like the index, we do have a target value that we try to keep the wounding rates below, and that's 5 marks per 100 lake trout greater than 532 millimeters. And again, this target is informed by a period of time where lake trout mortality was at an acceptable rate. So here we see lake trout marking rates over time. The points are the individual marking rates. The green line between them is the 3-year moving average, and the red line is the target of 5 wounds per 100 lake trout. So overall, from the 1990s onwards, you'll see that the wounding rates are above target, but they are consistently lower than the all-time highs of the 1980s before sea lamprey control came into effect on the lake. The 2023 marking rate is 8.3 wounds per 100 lake trout. This is greater than the target. And in the previous 2 years, we were below target for the first time in a while. So there is an upward trend, but it's hopefully we'll see a decrease next year since there is variability year to year. There were no lamprey treatments completed in 2023. This is because most of the regular producers were treated in the past 2 or 3 years. Additionally, the larval assessment surveys in 2022 didn't identify any tributaries that required urgent treatment. This upcoming year, we do have 1 treatment planned on Conneaut Creek. Conneaut straddles the border of Pennsylvania and Ohio. The upcoming treatment is not the only thing happening on Conneaut. There's also a proposed barrier on the Pennsylvania side of the river. The proposed barrier will include an adjustable seasonal barrier with a backup electrical barrier should there be an insufficient drop to block sea lamprey. Integrated into the proposed barrier is a permanent sea lamprey trap. There's currently a feasibility study underway, which should be completed this year. And if this barrier is to be constructed, that work will start in the next 2 or 3 years. This barrier will block about 80 kilometers of river from spawning sea lamprey, greatly reducing the amount of river that requires treatment. Some more barriers updates. The Yates Cider Mill Dam on the Clinton River. This has normally been an effective barrier, but recently, because of some high water events, a bypass channel was created around the barrier. The commission invested in some fixes, but shortly afterwards there was a flooding event which undid these fixes. So that has changed how we look at these barrier installation projects and wanting to look at the rivers more holistically. So there's a plan to reroute the Clinton River at the Cider Mill Dam to try to prevent the bypass happening again. Is this oh, there we go. So here is the Clinton River in its current course. Here's the bypass that was created, and I think that is the dam. So the plan is to reroute the river here, and that will prevent future establishment of this bypass, making sure that the barrier is effective at blocking spawning sea lamprey. One final barrier update to share on the Grand River at Harpers Field Dam. This barrier was completed recently in 2020, and it has been effective at blocking lamprey. However, in certain flow conditions, there's a nap vibration, which causes a pulsating sound downstream, affecting local homeowners. To correct this vibration, a metal lip was added to the nap of the barrier, which has resolved the vibration issue. However, the metal lip is starting to tear away in sections. So the commission is working with a firm to try to find a long-term solution to this, and hopefully that will be completed in the next year. So moving away from barriers and back to larval assessment, there's one new producer found on Lake Erie this summer. Crews and Fish and Wildlife Service found that the river raisin is a producer of sea lamprey. After 10 electrofishing surveys, they caught a single amosete, a single larvae. They're going to go back to the river raisin this summer to do some more comprehensive surveys. Now to the Huron-Erie corridor. The St. Clair River, it does produce sea lamprey, although this river has never been treated. We do annual surveys on the St. Clair River. We alternate between doing the upper main channel and the U.S. waters of the Delta. This season, DFO crews will do 24 balicide surveys on the St. Clair. Moving downstream to the Detroit River, the Detroit has never had a history of sea lamprey production. However, larval assessments in recent years have caught, during those larval assessments, they've caught native lamprey species. So we keep an eye out on the Detroit because the conditions that are suitable for native lamprey are also suitable for invasive sea lamprey. So some final thoughts. The overall trends of adult index and marking rates have increased from recent lows. However, both remain near the target. In particular, the adult index is just above target, so this is a promising sign for Lake Erie. The larval assessment results reflect these indices. We are catching very few or no lamprey at all in our larval assessments, which has corresponded to low treatment needs on Lake Erie, with no treatments completed last year and only one completed this year. But we don't take our foot off the pedal. We keep on surveying streams, both those known producers and visiting streams that have never harbored sea lamprey. So when lamprey do establish in a stream that requires treatment, we'll be ahead of the game to plan some future treatments on the lake. Thank you, and I welcome any questions.